Okay, so I'm hoping this is picking up my audio. I have tried to record through Teams, but I don't think it's working particularly well, so I've done the window sharing, and whilst it is, I guess, segued through Teams, it may be recorded on a different device, but hopefully you can see my lesson plan, and my learning objective, which is in alignment with Key Stage 2 goals regarding the ability to create and understand a piece of non-fiction in the subject of English. I have created a lesson plan around the newspaper, which is listed as part of the non-fiction modules. My objectives are clear: to be able to identify a newspaper, illustrate its key features, and discuss the 5 Ws in relation to the article format. Each pupil will complete a fact sheet compounding their learning. Each pupil will create a newspaper story informed by the literary devices they have learned and reflect on what they have achieved through peer assessment. The outcome of this lesson is for the pupil to understand the subset of journalism within the world of non-fiction, with the ability to reinvent a traditional storytelling structure to reflect a real event. I hope to witness a growth in confidence with the material and the ability to independently create a body of work in line with what we have learned. The list of resources represent the nature of creative design inherent in the work, such as the article format sheets and the coloured pens, allowing for a sense of freedom within the plan. The starter will see students discussing the articles on the table in front of them, encouraging an element of curiosity and the beginning of the familiarization of the newspaper. Questions will be asked to keep the class involved and on track, such as where do you think this may be published and which story do you find most gripping as a reader? Continue to display the prepared PowerPoint slides in order to establish the 5 Ws and their relevance to the work, asking if they could find any examples from the articles to ensure a level of understanding. With further examples of newspaper names and their aims, proceed to pinpoint the linguistic and visual features of an article, i.e. a headline, a subtitle, a conclusion, discussing with the class the importance of each feature in accordance with the task. The first learning activity will see students filling in the prepared worksheets, newspapers with the blank bubbles, to submit these features to the memory bank. This is key as it assesses how they are beginning to learn and what areas of understanding ahead of the plenary. Progress can be assessed with questions that may provide cues of assistance, i.e. I have listed subtitle tends to follow which feature of a newspaper. This encourages independent thought instead of restating the same information. Reframing it can be valuable in the learning environment. When this task is complete, I'll ask the class to share their sheets with the person beside them, encouraging honest communication and the ability to cooperatively work together to fill in any blanks before my involvement. This is integral to the reflection of the plenary ahead of displaying the model sheet, restating each feature. I will explain that whilst there is a relative answer, they will have freedom in what they wish to include within their own article, promoting a sense of self-governance. In the next task, students will begin formulating these ideas in accordance with the 5 Ws, asking leading questions whilst they consider who does this story revolve around and where could this take place, i.e. in a forest or in space. This acts as a springboard. Restate that they can employ creativity here with the usage of coloured markers for their drafts to stand out. Asking further questions within the circulation of the room will help in the identification of who may need further one-on-one support. Within the plenary, I will repeat the same structured process of asking them to share their newly designed ideas with their partner, asking what they may add and what they may enjoy from the 5 Ws. In furtherance of my own learning through the lesson plan, I will ask if they found the exercise helpful when formulating their own ideas and what we could do in the future to improve this. Finally, they will begin to write their stories, utilising printed blank newspaper sheets, applying previous knowledge and their new 5 Ws to the formulation of their article. I will ensure to restate the objective of including our key characteristics to make sure the story is formatted, committing our memory to action, with the rest up to them. Again, I will encourage drawing in partnership with their words to apply a level of visual communication, which is equally as important. The final plenary will see the children submitting their work to an editor, i.e. their partner and the class, to ensure community-based reflection before filling out a post-it note with 2 stars and a wish as a means of equally important self-reflection. This will form the basis of future projects. Concluding questions will once again reintegrate the objectives, this time in response to their own work. I created this lesson plan with the focus on newspapers, as it allows the children to reconstruct what they think they know about the format of the story and bring their own perspective to the listed characteristics of an article. Each piece of work completed will be different, illustrating the diversity of each young mind and reiterating the importance of self-creation. There's a visual journey evident here. And then, what personal and professional qualities do you think are important to the profession and working in schools? I've included this within the actual assignment so that I have a transcript, just in case that needed to be included. I wasn't sure. Whilst there are many traits that can be integrated with the profession of teaching, I believe the attributes of adaptability, patience and compassion to be the core 3. Time management and the intricacies of planning can be learned within the process of the PG Cert, as it is constructed to support the framework of professional growth, but without the aforementioned personal traits, there is little support to support this learning. They should be viewed as a foundation with which anything can be grounded upon. The manner of teaching is, by design, unique. No one day is the same, as is no child or class. Adaptability ensures you grow with the task at hand and face new challenges with the willingness to reconstruct the structure you are accustomed to. As time passes, you may be moved between years or meet children with additional support needs, and this should be faced with a readiness to alter what you may believe you already know, as it is inherent knowledge. Teachers support the ability to keep learning within your role. Additionally, partnering qualities of patience and compassion support the care necessary when undertaking any role within a school. The pre-developed brain can be sensitive and increasingly vulnerable to the environment surrounding them. Thus, it is vital they receive care and the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from them without fear of wrongdoing. They must be supported with channels of compassion and the employment of patience in their teaching, as without it there is no basis with which to pursue their own education. To feel safe with who they receive primary care from, both inside the classroom environment and out, is crucial. I think the element of planning and time management, as I stated before, can all be learned, and whilst they are integral to the nature of teaching, I think this is something that grows over space of time and the span of time, whereas the qualities I mentioned as adaptability, patience and compassion are all things that most people already possess if they wish to get into the profession of teaching, and I don't think you can enter that job without having any of the 3. I think you've at least got to have one and be willing to work on the others. I mean, compassion seems like it would be an elementary one that everyone possesses, but that isn't always the case. You've got to have compassion to work with children. You have to have a level of patience to be able to work with the tasks that you have at hand and understand that each child learns differently and that you may need to alter your manner of teaching or your style of teaching to fit this. Adaptability is one that you can maybe learn over that time, and when you get placed within a role, you might learn adaptability along the way, but I think it is important to already possess a level of a willingness to adapt. And that's key within teaching, because as I said, no day is the same, no child is the same, no class is the same, and no school is the same. So you may go from a different job, you may be promoted, you may have a new role within welfare, and it's important to be able to adapt and grow with your job title to fit the needs of the children, which is the most important thing. And that should be it for the recording. I hope that this audio works well. If it isn't, please contact me and let me know, and I'll be happy to re-record.